And we are live. Welcome back to the Content Swap Podcast. You are joined by Parker and
Aaliyah.
And if you're new to the Content Swap Podcast, this is a podcast in which we assign each other a piece of content at the end of every episode, engage with it for the week, and then reconvene on this podcast to talk about our experiences. And we also share a little bit of fun facts. So before we dive into the content, we like to provide a little life news update on what's going on with us. So we will go ahead and get right into that. But if you'd like to skip ahead, you can check the timestamps in the video or the recording episode podcast platform. Just check the timestamps, check the description. It's all there. If you want to skip ahead, feel free to skip ahead. So with that being said, go ahead and take it away.
Yay. Well, to start off, today is our Christmas together. We'll be together on Christmas Day, but
it's our individual Christmas.
Yes, our individual
personal
Christmas. So because we are usually traveling on Christmas, we usually go to the West Coast. We can't bring all of our presents for each other with us, and so we always do our own Christmas like a few days before we leave. And so it is Sunday when we're recording this. We leave on Tuesday, early morning, so perfect day. We don't have anything going on aside from our Christmas activities. So that's been a lot of fun. We started the morning opening our presents. We decorated Christmas cookies. Now we're recording the podcast. We have a Lego set, like a Christmas Lego set we'll build together. And yeah, it's just really fun. And I've got some cool things.
Yeah, it feels like perpetual Christmas.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
It's kind of nice.
Yeah, we get a forever Christmas, which is great. I'll say, so my favorite gift, all the gifts you gave me were wonderful. And it's not even about the gifts, it's about being together on the holidays. But my favorite gift that you gave me was a complete surprise. And it was just a Gojo, doll.
A Gojo action figure from Target.
Yes. It was so fun to unwrap. And I was like, it's Gojo!
Yes, Gojo, the famous character from the Jujutsu Kaisen anime.
Yeah.
For those that don't know.
Yeah. I mean, everything you got me was so wonderful and so perfect. And I couldn't ask for anything more. I think because I had no expectation for this, the fact I opened it and immediately saw his face and was like, heck yeah, Gojo.
I figured that would be like the perfect curveball gift that you would just never expect to get in a million years. You would never buy it for yourself. You would never see it and think, oh, I want that.
Yeah.
But I saw it and I said, she's going to want that. If I give it to her in this moment, she's going to want it.
Oh,
super bad.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I can't imagine my life without it at this point. I'm so sad I've lived this long without it. And I've been, ever since I unwrapped it, I'm like, where do I put it? Where's the perfect place to put it so that every day I see his beautiful face? And I think I'm going to set it on my desk.
Yeah, no, I figured you would put it somewhere around your desk setup.
100%. So that way when I'm doing work and I'm like, man, work is just too much right now. And just look up at Gojo and be like, at least I got Gojo with me.
Wow, yeah. You can text me if you want.
I mean, of course. You're just in the other room when we're working. But yeah. Before I get into kind of content that I've been viewing, what was your favorite gift that you received from me?
I think my favorite gift that I got was honestly the controller stand that you got me, because I didn't. It's a wooden stand that's got my initials on it, PDA, which is nice. And it's got two places for controllers to go, and then it's got this kind of like big curvy thing where you hang up your headphones on. So like, big over the ear headphones. And I have these PlayStation over the ear headphones, and I got to, now I'm looking at it right now. It's two PlayStation controllers hanging up. One of those PlayStation controllers is a new PS5 DualSense Edge controller, which is a pretty nice controller. That I also like that as well. But just in the same spirit as you, it's like it's the like the DualSense Edge controller is something that was like on my list of things that I wanted, but the whole stand for it was not at all. And so yeah, it's those things that we didn't ask for that we received that we really like because we just both know each other really well. Those are like the extra special things.
Yeah, those are really fun because it's like, yeah, like you said, it's like these things we just know each other so well that like we can think of something that, or like find something that's like they would love this. They would never think about it being in existence or like even buying it for themselves or wanting it for themselves. But like I know when they unwrap this, they're gonna love it.
Yeah,
type of thing.
As soon as I bought that Gojo action figure, I was like, I cannot wait for her to open this because I know exactly how she's gonna react, and it's gonna be so much fun.
Yeah.
And it was the cheapest thing I got you.
Yeah. That sounds like me. It's like the smallest thing is always my favorite thing. Anytime anyone gets me a gift, it's like my favorite thing on my birthdays are your homemade cards. It's like something that's free. And like it's always, I look forward to it every birthday. I'm like, I wonder what card he's going to make me. And then, yeah, it's just, those are the best. The best. Cool. So content wise, I haven't been engaging with a lot of new content. However, I did start the show Beef, which I know I'm like super behind everybody. Like that was like popular like at the beginning of this year. But I did start it and have been kind of watching it. And I honestly, you told me like, oh, I would love for you to assign that for me because like it looks interesting from what I've seen you watch. And yeah, I probably will because even though I've been watching it, I have been like doing other things while I watch it. And so I do feel like I have missed a few maybe key details because I remember you asked me a question and I was like, oh, I don't really know how we got here. Like I wasn't fully paying attention.
Right.
So I am enjoying it a lot. I will at some point probably assign it so that I can also do a rewatch and make sure that I'm fully paying attention. But yeah, it's a very interesting show. And other than that, we both went and saw the Studio Ghibli movie, the new one, Boy and the Heron.
The Boy and the Heron.
Yeah, you wrote a review on it. And I did not write a review, but my opinion on it is that I actually really loved it. Like I think you had to take a little bit of time to process it to see how you felt about it.
Yeah, I had to talk about it.
Yeah,
in order to come to an understanding of what I even experienced.
Yeah. Yeah, and I think for me, I like off the bat loved it. And it was like, yeah, I didn't fully understand it. I didn't know kind of what was going on at points. But I think the viewing experience was really fun to me because I was super invested because I was like, what the heck is this? And then like on top of that, I felt like it had my, like after the movie, my mind was going like a mile a minute of like, well, I think this meant this, and I think this meant this, and I think this meant this. And it was like all my own kind of concoction of what I assumed the story was trying to say. But that part of it was so fun to me to like come up with my own reasoning for why everything that existed in this movie existed. And I was like, I think it's been a minute since I've watched something that's like made me do that, to where I'm like, oh my gosh, like let's share our ideas. What do you think it meant? I think it meant something different, like type of thing. So I really enjoyed the experience. Is it my favorite Ghibli movie? No. And you said the same thing. You're like, is it my favorite? No. But yeah, I thought it was a cool kind of final like experience.
Send off.
Yeah. It was like, whoa.
Now that we've done our homework, so to speak, like analyzing it together, and I've written a review on it, and all of that stuff, it's like I immediately want to rewatch it, you know? Like I would rewatch it right now if I could. If it didn't require going to a movie theater, I would rewatch it right now because it's just it's a very surrealist film in a lot of ways, and that like you said, that symbolism and the meaning behind everything. Now it's like, I want to go back and kind of see, did we get that right? You know,
I don't know that we would ever know if we got it right.
Well, I know, but I guess like rewatch it and like, because I have an idea of like how I remember certain things happening, but then going back, kind of knowing what we think we know. Yeah. Does it feel like it matches up?
Confirm our hypothesis.
Right. Right. Or do we get like some new ideas?
Yeah. That's fair. I think it's really cool that it seems like that scene, or at least among people that I know, that seems to be like a common theme of like, we're all like, we enjoyed it because we want to go back and watch it and see what it like, to like pick up on things maybe we didn't pick up on before. Like, I've talked to some of my friends and they've said the same thing of like, yeah, it was really confusing, but like I was intrigued and like I feel like I need to watch it again. Like,
yeah, well, I mean, I think what I'm most afraid of is people watching it and saying like, yeah, that was visually amazing and it was quite the spectacle, but it was also like a bunch of nonsense, and then writing it off as a whole as just nonsense, especially with like Twitter or threads with people just like, you know, the discourse around these things, and we say one thing and we quickly move on. I would be concerned about that happening with this, and kind of people dunking on it, and then people who haven't seen it just start dunking on it without having like, and none of those people have spent the time, and it's again like affecting the discourse around the movie. That's what I would be most concerned about.
Yeah. I mean, I think,
but that's just a symptom of our modern society, I think. But the movie's great. I would totally recommend watching it. Yeah,
I think for people who are fans of Ghibli, like, you know that there's always some sort of like theme to the movies that he makes. Like, there's always some sort of kind of commentary on the way the world works and like what we experience as human beings and the good and the bad of all those experiences. And so I feel like for fans of Ghibli, they will be very intrigued by this and be very invested in like understanding that deeper meaning, because they know that there is one. Yeah. And it's not just something that's like, that was a chaotic mess. I don't like, what was that?
Right. Miyazaki has built a very storied career and a massive portfolio of incredible motion pictures.
Yeah.
And he's not just going to make something that makes absolutely no sense for his last movie. There's going to be a purpose behind it. And that's, if it was his first movie, I'd be a little more concerned.
Oh, yeah. Like, all right, where are we going?
Yeah, like, what?
Yeah, no, for sure.
It's the confidence that we have in the creator that really makes it for us.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
But that's really all that I have. So what are you engaging with? What are you up to?
I'm not really engaging with anything new, so to speak. I am still playing Dave the Diver on my Switch, and I'm like getting back into it. I kind of took a few weeks off after Thanksgiving from playing it, because since we were going to be home for a few weeks, I wanted to focus on playing anything that was on the PlayStation that I could only play at home. So the new God of War Ragnarok DLC came out, where you play. It turns the game into like a roguelike. Yeah, a God of War roguelike. And they call it all takes place in Valhalla, and there's a bunch of like extra story. It kind of serves as like an epilogue to the main game, which is really cool. And I played through it this week, and my friend also played through it this week. I finished it. Yeah. Gotcha. I finished it on what's today? Sunday. I think I finished it on Friday or Thursday maybe. It was really good. I really enjoyed it. There's still more left for me to experience. It's all just focused on like the combat of the game. So it's really cool to have as like, if I ever just want to go back to the game to just play around with the combat, it's like there's a literal mini game in the game to satisfy that. Like I don't have to just go back and replay the whole story of the game, though that is something I do want to do again at some point. If I don't want to do that and I just want to play the gameplay, it's like, well, here it is. And it's like all the best parts of the gameplay, which is great. So yeah, I loved that. And yeah, just trying to finish Dave the Diver, and been still watching Blue Eye Samurai, and I swear to God, I need to keep watching that show and finish it, so that when I tell people like, oh yeah, I'm watching Blue Eye Samurai, I could be a little bit more like, and it's so good. Because it is really good, but I've only seen like 2 episodes of it. I know it's really good from what I've seen. All the reviews are like, yo, this is like really, really, really good. And I'm like, okay, I mean, I think it's great. I haven't quite seen the really, 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 really good.
Yeah.
So I'm curious. And I want to finish that because like last night, some of my friends were like, oh, have you guys watched Scavenger's Reign? Which is literally the next thing I plan on watching after finishing Blue Eye Samurai. And they're like, oh, yeah, Scavenger's Reign is great. And I'm like, yeah, I'm going to watch it, but I'm watching Blue Eye Samurai. Anybody heard of that? And they're like, what is that? You know?
No.
So, yeah, I want to finish it so I can be like, no, you'd love it.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
Because I feel like people would like it. Anyway. Yeah, so there's that. And, yeah, just planning on finishing up Day of the Diver over vacation, reading a little bit as well, and looking forward to having a little bit of that downtime with the Switch and the books. It's gonna be great.
Yeah, it's always like really overwhelming because you're like, all right, I've got 2.5 weeks of downtime, but it's not truly 2.5 weeks because we got family things to do. So it's like, what do I engage with? Like what
I have
things,
three. I have 3 goals for my winter break. It is finish Day of the Diver, finish Blue Eye Samurai, and finish Recursion, the book that I'm reading. If I finish those 3 things, I'll feel like pretty satisfied.
Nice.
Yeah.
Nice. Mine is to keep reading Harry Potter. And then I'm assuming you're going to assign me a game, so then I'll have time to play that.
Yeah.
And that's kind of it for now. I think I'm going to take a break from crocheting. I need to finish a sweater.
Really?
If I can finish this, I might honestly just like pull an all-nighter today just to finish this freaking sweater.
Wow.
Because I want it to be done before we even go there so that I can wear it when we're like in Nevada.
Oh, okay.
I think it might be a little too thick for San Diego.
Yeah, we'll see.
Yeah, we'll see. But I'm like, I want that done. I want it done. And I'm so all I have to do are the sleeves and put it together. So, yeah. I'm going to get that done. But
all right, we set some goals aside for ourselves.
We have.
Let's do it.
You have. Cool. All right. Well, is that all? Should we dive into our assignments?
Yeah, let's dive into the assignments. So
Awesome. I
believe I am first this week. So I was assigned a holiday rom-com. Oh, yeah. Okay, wait. So, I was thinking like, oh, I'm going to mention this at the beginning and then just failed to mention it once again. So this is our third and final holiday swap of the year, of the season, our last episode of the year. So by the next time we record, it'll be in a few weeks. The new year. And we'll have engaged with whatever that content is that we're talking about for like 3 weeks. So that ought to be a lot of fun. And in general, looking forward to the new year. So hope you enjoy this final episode of the year. And I'll get right to it. So I was assigned my final holiday swap of the season was a movie called Happiest Season. Wow. It came out in 2020, and it is a holiday-themed romantic comedy. So during the holidays, a lesbian couple named Harper and Abby go to visit Harper's family. But there's one small wrinkle. Harper hasn't come out to her parents yet. And she would tell her parents, but her dad is focused on a very big mayoral he's running for mayor. Mayoral campaign. And appearances are everything right now. So Harper doesn't want to, throw a wrench in things by coming out to her parents because their public image is so big, and if she keeps them ignorant, then they won't have to even like worry about hiding it or whatever, so, and it sucks that they would even like need to hide it. But their
parents are like not that you have to earn their love kind of thing. Like, it's not, they don't, not necessarily unconditional love, or at least it doesn't show. Like The way that they
right.
treat the kids doesn't show that they love them unconditionally.
Right. So Harper's whole plan is to tell her parents after the holidays, but Abby is on the way to Christmas with her parents. So Abby is basically forced to pretend to be Harper's roommate, who just came along because she had nowhere else to go. And it's super messed up because Abby's parents died when she was 19, and it happened around Christmas. So yes, it is true that she wouldn't have much to do for Christmas, but it's like super shady that Harper would use that as the reasoning for bringing her along as part of this like fake narrative that they have to live for a few days.
Yeah, and the way the family uses that information is just horrible.
Very gross.
Horrible.
Yeah. They're like, oh, you don't even know what a Christmas tree is,
right.
do you?
Right.
And it's like,
she's
I was 19 when it happened.
She's like, I was an adult when they passed away. Like,
right. It's so, yeah. It's wild. So, yeah, from there, the movie is all about spending the holidays with Harper's family while their parents are very fully engrossed in this political campaign, trying to appear as perfect as can be, which proves to become increasingly challenging. So, despite that simple setup, there's actually a lot going on here. Harper has two exes in this movie. One's male, one's female. The female one, Riley, is played by Aubrey Plaza, and she serves as like a support for Abby while Harper pretends not to be gay to her family. And I really liked Aubrey Plaza's character. She kind of helps the audience realize like, yeah, Harper's actually not being the greatest support for Abby. And I mean, we already feel for Abby, but then Abby being seen by Riley as this person who is struggling with the fact that the person that she loves is pretending like she doesn't is really hard. So yeah, I enjoyed having Aubrey Plaza in this movie. Kristen Stewart plays Abby, by the way. So Abby being like the main character, played by Kristen Stewart. And I have notes on Kristen Stewart in a second, but Dan Levy is also in this movie. He plays Abby's friend John, and he's just like the absolute best friend homie in this movie to her.
He's so funny.
While she's struggling with Harper's increasingly judgmental family, he is just like there to support Abby through the whole thing. And yeah, he's hilarious in this movie. So yeah, it's as you said, it's pretty clear Harper and her sister have to compete for their parents' affection, and all the while their younger sister, so like Harper has I don't know if it's her older sister, but she has another sister who like used to be a lawyer but now makes gift baskets, which they call like vessels, experiences within vessels or something whack. And so like Harper and her sister are like acting all competitive with each other to try and seem like the more impressive sister. But then they have this younger sister, Jane, who like everybody just completely ignores and has given up on the feeling of pride ever being a thing with her, you know, like they don't feel proud to have her in the family at all, which is like so crazy that like the dad will be talking to potential donors and it'll be like, oh, like Harper, she's the star, she's so great, and then like the sister, you
Sloane,
know, Sloane, that's her name. Yeah, it's like Sloane used to be great as a lawyer, and then Jane, she helps me figure out what the Wi-Fi is or what, you know, and it's like so Jane is actually like the most caring person in the whole movie, and you know, despite being labeled a family oddball, she's like been working really hard to write a book with an in-depth fictional universe, but nobody takes her dream of turning that into a book seriously, and it's really sad. And like at the end of the movie, Harper's sister finds out that her and Abby are romantically involved and threaten to tell the parents, and Harper gets so upset that Sloane is about to reveal this to everybody that she just breaks their younger sister Jane's painting on Sloane's head, and Jane gets all upset. She's like, I spent 100 hours painting that, and you just broke it like it was nothing. And it's just like, dang, like really feel bad for Jane in this whole movie. Like, where did this character come from? What, like, this is a romantic comedy. This character is not usually incorporated into the formula, but I am somehow finding myself most emotionally resonating with her struggles, 'cause she just wants to be loved.
Literally, she's like, can someone acknowledge me that I exist?
It's wild. Anyway, so I mean, you know, things happen. Harper eventually does come out to her parents, and everything does work out. There's definitely a lot of ups and downs in between all of that, between her and Abby. A lot of Harper kind of being shady, but then there's this whole kind of Dan Levy's character is talking to Kristen Stewart's character and kind of tells her, like, you know, her not coming out to her family has nothing to do with you. Everybody's story is different. When I told my dad that I was gay, he threw me out of the house and didn't talk to me for 13 years. But, like, your parents accepted you with open arms, and that's beautiful. But everybody's got a story, like, either yours or mine or everything in between. And, you know, it's Harper's on her own journey right now. And then Abby, Kristen Stewart, is like, you know, I want to be with somebody who's ready. And it's like, good for her. Yeah. And Harper is like not ready. And Abby is like, you know, Harper does come out to her parents and is like, I love you, Abby. And Abby's like, too little, too late. But then, I don't know. Then Harper like finds her at a supermarket, like, I don't know, 30 minutes later, and is like, but I love you. And it's like, all right. So that part was a little weak for me, but yeah, I mean, overall, it all works out. You know, the family becomes accepting of everything. The dad loses a major donor because that donor wanted he wanted Harper to take on like a don't ask, don't tell policy. And he was like, nope, I love my daughter. I want her to be who she is. And they end up okay. Like, he put all his life savings into the campaign, but it ends up okay because guess what? Jane's fiction universe book sells really well. And they make a bunch of money from it. And the whole family's okay. And that's the gist of the whole movie. I hope that was less of a play-by-play than other summaries I've given in the past.
That was good.
So overall, yeah, I actually really liked this movie. I really enjoyed Dan Levy's character the most, I would say. I want to watch him. I want to watch more stuff that he's in. I know he's in a lot of stuff. Yeah. I just haven't seen any of it.
I know. I was like very shook that you had not seen Schitt's Creek, and I like immediately wrote it down on my content swap list because I was like, what? Like, this is your first Dan Levy exposure?
It's not my first Dan Levy exposure. I mean, like, I know of him. I know who he is. I know about Schitt's Creek. I know that he's around and he's funny, you know, like he's permeated the zeitgeist very well for me to have never actually seen anything that he is in, but still know exactly who he is. So yeah, I want to see more of the stuff that he's actually in.
My absolute favorite part of this film, it's like such a small moment, but I don't know, it's just like, I feel like it's something that my friend would do. Like, Kristen Stewart calls him and is like very sad and upset about like what she's having to do with, the family, and like she's just really frustrated, and she's like, I don't know who my partner is anymore. Like, she's someone completely different. And so she like explains all the stuff that's happened, and Dan Levy just goes, I'm gonna have to think on this, and just hangs up. He's like, I don't even know what to tell you right now. Give me a minute.
Yeah. But then he like shows up to help her out,
which is like such a great thing for a friend to do. Yeah.
So before we watched this movie, before it really started, I said, like, is this movie gonna change my outlook on Kristen Stewart? And you were like, probably not. But I will say, this is probably the most invested I've ever felt in any one of Kristen Stewart's characters. I've only seen like Twilight and I don't know, maybe a couple other things. But I was definitely. I think it kind of did change my outlook on Kristen
Wow.
Stewart in a way.
Wow.
Holiday themed rom-com. Who knew?
Yeah. I mean, it's definitely a more like relaxed performance from her. She still has the same kind of like emotionless kind of. I mean, aside from the parts where like, you know, she's like, you tell she's really upset, but like it's still, the delivery of things is still kind of like,
I mean,
you know,
I'm familiar enough with Kristen Stewart at this point that I like, you know, I know how she expresses emotion.
Yeah.
And this felt like an authentic Kristen Stewart performance in that regard.
Yes.
Like, I'm like, oh yeah, like I believe this because
Yes.
I know who she is.
Exactly. Yes, I will give you that. Like, it is very believable. Like, it's like, okay, I would imagine her to act like this in this situation,
Right.
should she face it.
Right.
I think that's why I really hate the Charlie's Angels that she's in, which might be something I assign you.
Why? I don't want to watch it.
Because her delivery of things is very heightened, very like uncharacteristic of what we've seen her do.
I would blame that on the direction of the movie.
Yeah. And it's just like, it feels cringy because you're like, girl, like, yeah, you're just like, what? This is not you. Like, it's too much. It's too much performance. And so I absolutely hate the new Charlie's Angels so much. But yeah, no. I mean, I really like her performance. I watched Diana?
Spencer.
There we go. Where
she played Princess Diana.
Yeah, I watched that and I enjoyed her performance in that. So yeah, I don't know. I
mean, she got nominated for an Oscar for that performance. Kristen Stewart, the wooden girl from Twilight. So, like,
yeah.
you know, she's clearly got
movies?
some acting chops. Yeah, I remember Catch That Kid.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, I really enjoyed her. I think that's probably my favorite performance of hers, but I do really enjoy her in this movie. I enjoy this movie a lot.
Yeah. I mean, this movie just kind of like reminded me of who Kristen Stewart like actually is.
Yeah.
It just felt like a very like Kristen Stewart getting to be herself and not just this like absolutely crazy character that she is in Twilight. Like it just Kristen Stewart getting to be Kristen Stewart and not having to like pretend to be this like teeny bopper queen, you know?
Yeah.
And yeah, and it made me like her more.
Yeah.
Just as a human being, you know?
Goodness. Like, you're like, I hate her as a human being.
I didn't hate her or anything before. It's just like, oh, okay. Like I just feel more connected to you now, Kristen Stewart.
That's fair.
Yeah.
That's fair. Cool. Any other thoughts?
I mean, I don't have a ton of other thoughts. I mean, it is kind of straightforward, you know.
Yeah.
Straight to streaming, Hulu.
Yeah.
Holiday comedy.
Yeah.
Yeah, her parents were scary in the movie, or Harper's parents were scary in this movie.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, I appreciated all of the commentary about like coming out to your parents and how difficult that experience is. I feel like it really shined light on that.
Yeah. Sorry, I don't mean to interrupt you.
No,
I
go
like
ahead.
really feel like that scene with Dan Levy where he's like talking about everyone experiences a different kind of coming out experience. And I love that scene so much because it's like the movie kind of makes you like, as you're watching the movie and you're seeing like what Harper's doing, you're like, gosh, she's like the worst. Like, why is she doing this? Why is she putting Abby in this position? Why is she making this happen?
Yeah, I started to really hate Harper.
Yeah, it's like as a viewer, you're starting to really resent Harper, but then like you get reminded in that moment, like you really can't resent, like, you know, it's just it's a difficult thing for, I mean, I'm not a part of the LGBTQ community. But I imagine it's such a difficult thing to do. And so like it just gives you that really quick reminder of like, hey, you know, have some sympathy or empathy or whatever. And just like remember that this is a really hard thing to do and you don't know the outcome. And so, yes, but then it also validates Abby because it's like, but you don't have to be a part of this if that's not what you're looking for. Like, it's super valid to say, like, I want somebody who is ready, who's like, you know, out and whatever, because like that's what I need. Like, I need a partner who has like gone through it and like will, you know, support me and, you know, be okay with me being out and everything like that. So yeah, it's such a great moment, and it's so like brief and simple and just like a quick little conversation of like, hey,
Yeah.
just remember this.
Yeah. It really makes you think about how like Harper's entire support system is kind of at risk.
Mm-hmm.
And she doesn't know what's going to happen. It's either
Exactly.
she could lose her whole family, or she could lose the person that she loves.
Mm-hmm.
Hopefully she doesn't have to lose anybody, but she doesn't know what's going to happen. You know?
For
it
sure.
feels like either way she loses.
Yeah.
So, yeah. I also appreciated that scene. And it also made me think like, damn, this Dan Levy guy's got range. He's very funny, and then now he's like getting all deep and serious, and I'm like, oh,
so I gotta watch Schitt's Creek.
Like, I want to see more of what this guy's got. You know,
that's why you gotta watch Schitt's Creek. Yeah. I like this movie a lot, and it took me a while. At first, I was like, did I like that movie? But then after I watched it, because I think I watched it a second time before we watched it this time, and I was like, no, I really like this movie.
Nice.
Yeah. Ready for some facts?
Yeah, hit me with those facts.
So this movie, which I did not know, was directed by Clea Duvall. And so Clea is actually an actress who's been in Hollywood for quite some time now, and has a pretty like extensive IMDb like filmography. And it's full of different TV shows and movies that she's been in, including But I'm a Cheerleader and Handmaid's Tale. But I know her from her role in Girl Interrupted, which is also another piece of content that I have waiting on my content swap list for you that I will assign you at some point. And so I was like, oh my gosh, I did not know she directed this, which is really cool. The movie is based on Clea's kind of personal experiences that she's had. And so from what I read, it seems like she's been in similar situations to Abby or Kristen Stewart's role. And so this is kind of like her putting that experience, like visualizing that experience for not only herself to like reflect on, but then like to share with audiences. This was also Mary Holland's screenwriting debut. And if you're unfamiliar with who Mary Holland is, she plays Jane in the movie.
Oh, okay. So I actually did like have a sense that the girl that played Jane was not like, I mean, I felt like I'd seen her as an actress or a comedian or something, and I kind of had this inkling of a feeling like she probably writes stuff.
Really?
Not just as a character, but like she just, like she reminds me of my friend who is a writer for the screen. And yeah, it's just like, that doesn't surprise me. Yeah.
Got you.
I'm like, oh, I'm happy about that.
Yeah, I had no clue. I mean, her face does look familiar. I didn't know if I had seen her in something else, and I didn't even look up her IMDb page. But yeah, I had no clue she was a screenwriter. That's awesome. And I love that it's like kind of like her character in the movie as an author. Oh my gosh, my stomach just growled. So of course, as we've kind of already mentioned, this movie stars a few actors and actresses who identify as a part of the LGBTQ community, which thank goodness, it would be such a shame if like none of the actors did. But some of those actors include, as we mentioned, Kristen Stewart, Dan Levy, Victor Garber, and Aubrey Plaza, which is awesome. This movie was originally set to be released in theaters, but the movie wrapped like a month before the pandemic shutdown. And so it never ended up being released in theaters. As we mentioned, it got released on Hulu. But had it been released in theaters, it would have been the first major studio films centered around female same-sex couple to be released in theaters, which is like really wild. I'm like, goodness,
yeah.
We need to do better.
Yeah.
Yeah, which I mean, I already knew that, but like, dang. So Oh, part of the things that, so I was like kind of like looking through the IMDb page, and saw like the gross worldwide, amount of money that it made. It made like 2 million or something. But I'm like, how, for movies that were like, during the pandemic, was supposed to be released theatrically, but then ended up being straight to streaming. I'm like, how do they calculate the revenue
they really wouldn't.
Yeah.
Like at all.
Yeah. So it's weird that it has a number on IMDb.
Yeah, that is kind of weird. I would imagine that maybe there was like a limited screening or something like that. But would generate 2 million? That seems like a lot
during a pandemic.
Yeah. I don't know. That's kind of weird.
Yeah. I was like, is it based on clicks? Is it based
No, because Hulu, these platforms don't report that kind of thing.
Yeah.
Netflix is now going to start doing a twice a year report on that kind of thing, but they have historically never given out their viewing numbers really. So, these streaming platforms, like they don't have to.
Yeah. Ooh, I want to see those analytics.
Right.
Yeah, it was weird. I was like, that's weird that there's like a amount. Like, how do they even know that?
Yeah, that's weird. I would personally probably look at that and say, no, that's probably not right.
Fair. So speaking of the pandemic, in an interview it was the Late Show with Stephen Colbert, Aubrey Plaza was the guest, and she said that after the production of this film, that she asked the man who was driving her to the airport if she should be worried about COVID-19. And he replied, that S word has been in Pittsburgh for a long time. And that's where they filmed this. And then, I'm not trying to laugh because this is like, that's scary especially like when we didn't know anything about the pandemic. But apparently Kristen Stewart and several others on the set did get COVID from being on set. But she did not.
I think the strangest part of this movie is at the end credits. They show like an Instagram feed, and you can see the dates of everything, and it's like December 28th, 2020, and it's like, oh, I'm supposed to believe that this all, like, in I don't know, 15 years, somebody rewatching this when they know about like the great pandemic of 2020, and
like that's like historically inaccurate.
Right.
I didn't even pay attention to the dates.
Yeah, I was like, there's no way all of these people would have been interacting. Yeah, is alternate universe, alternate 2020.
Yeah. Fun fact: in one of those Instagram pictures, they're at like a pride parade, and Clea, the director, is in the picture hugging Aubrey Plaza. I'm like, that's cool. She like gave herself a little cameo. Oh. So that's all the facts that I have.
Nice.
I'm glad you enjoyed it.
Yeah, no, it was great.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Highly recommend. I genuinely know if it's a good movie if my friend who listens to the podcast texts me saying like, "Oh, you'll like that one," or if the fact that he's seen it, tells me like, "Oh, okay, it's probably pretty good."
Wow.
Yeah.
And he said that about Happiest season?
Yeah.
Nice.
He's like, that's a good one. I was like, you guys know all the holiday movies. He's like, we've been decorated since November 1st.
That doesn't surprise me. Yeah. Oh, that's awesome. Cool. Well, yeah, that's all I've got. So I guess moving on to the next thing.
Mm-hmm.
All right. Oh, what a doozy. So I was assigned Star Wars Holiday Special. Came out in 1978.
Yep. The Star Wars Holiday Special.
Yes, this is quite a rough one. So the special is about Chewbacca's family. You didn't even get through the first 3 words. No.
That's like the best thing.
Yes.
It's when it opens, it's like this Star Wars Holiday Special starring, and it's like Mark Hamill. Right. It goes through like the main cast. It's like Chewbacca, and then it's like
featuring,
and then it's like, oh, okay, like I know all of these characters, and then it's like featuring Chewbacca's family.
Right.
And it's like,
and I'm thinking
3 carpets.
Right. I'm thinking, oh, Chewbacca's family's just gonna pop in. Like, it's gonna be a like little holiday party at the end and we meet Chewbacca's family. No, this whole thing was about Chewbacca's family.
Yeah.
Talk about
They
an
were the
hour
main
and 30
characters.
minutes of like the whole time. Oh my gosh. I was like in this right now. So anyways, this special is about Chewbacca's family waiting for Chewbacca and Han Solo to make their way home in time to celebrate something called Life Day. And so throughout this special, we see Chewie's wife, Mala, calling like various people through like a million different computer devices, trying to like locate where the heck is Chewie. Because, you know, she wants him to be home for Life Day. And basically a bunch of shenanigans kind of happens, as you would imagine, in a Star Wars film or Star Wars thing. And there's a bunch of extremely long musical performances that are very just like weird.
Diane Carroll, Jefferson Starship, some woman who I didn't know was singing in the cantina at one point, but we were checked out by then, I don't even know what happened.
Yeah, too much. But by the end, Chewie and Han Solo make it home. They're joined by their pals, Luke, Leia, C-3PO, and R2. And all is well, and they celebrate a great Life Day.
And Princess Leia sings a song.
Princess Leia sings us a song. This is the worst assignment I've ever received. And I know
it was supposed to be.
I know. But I'm going to tell you how terrible it was. I am putting this under In Bruges. I enjoyed In Bruges more than I watched. More than this. This was so bad.
I mean, I enjoyed In Bruges a lot more than this, too.
No, I hated In Bruges. But I hated this more.
This was... That was the goal.
Yeah. I didn't think anything would knock In Bruges off that little pedestal.
No,
this did.
This is one of the worst things ever made.
Yes. I was so ridiculously bored. I was so annoyed by all the different whatever. I was just like, oh my God. And basically after the first song, both of us checked out, and we were looking on our phone. We were not at all paying attention to this.
I told you ahead of time.
Yes.
I told you, like, if you get distracted, that's okay. If you need to go on your phone in order to cope with the fact that this is on the TV, that's okay. If you want to play patty cake with me in the middle of this, I encourage it, you know?
You said all those things, but I was like, I'm a pretty disciplined person. I'm pretty resilient. Like, it can't be to the point where I'm doing all those things. Like, it's an hour and 30 minutes, which I was like, that is a bit long. But I was like, I can make it through. First song hit, no.
Yeah.
I'm tapping out.
It's nonsense. Like, you were... I want to say for the first 20 minutes, you were like really trying to pay attention.
Yeah.
You got like Chewbacca's son, Lumpy, running around doing whatever he's doing. And he's got this terrifying face when you stare deep into his eyes.
And I was trying to give it some credit. I was like, these actors are doing a phenomenal job, portraying emotion without any dialogue.
Yeah, you complimented.
All they're doing is making growling noises or whatever.
Yeah.
And they're, I'm understanding how they're feeling about Chewbacca's absence.
That was like 1 minute in. You're like, oh, I get it. No, yeah.
And then it just was terrible from there. It was so weird. So I'm very curious to know, like, when this aired on people's televisions or wherever it was airing, I'm like, how did they feel about it?
Well, it's critically panned, universally critically panned.
Yeah.
It's one of the worst 2 hours of television ever created. There is a book that came out. Let me see if I can find the name of the book. Yeah, there's a book that came out called The 100 Dumbest Events in Television History, and this was rated number 1.
Is that based on us looking back on it and being like, oh, that's bad?
No, I mean, like, people... So, okay, so there's a whole story to... There's a whole story to this.
Yeah.
So, let's see. Where can I find... All right, so George Lucas was okay with this being made. The original Star Wars cast working on this holiday special was in their original contract. So they had to be in this. That's why Harrison Ford was in this. And after Harrison Ford was in this, he tried to get out of all of his Star Wars contracts. He didn't want to be in the franchise anymore. Yeah. He was like, please write me out of this.
And even in the new ones, he's like, kill me.
Right.
I don't like why did he agree to be in the new one?
Right.
If he just like hated doing it so
right.
much.
I did read that somebody interviewed him after, it was when they were doing press for Star Wars Episode 7. They were like, what if they wanted to do a new Star Wars holiday special? Would you play the character again for that? And he would said, I would kill myself.
Oh my gosh.
Which is a very Harrison Ford type of response. So, yeah. So George Lucas was okay with this getting made because he wanted to... Star Wars was just a big hit in 1977, and it's 1978. He wanted to keep Star Wars fresh in people's minds, in the cultural zeitgeist, so that people would keep buying merchandise, because famously George Lucas owned all of the rights to the merchandise, because the companies didn't know how big merchandise was going to really be. And he was a genius, kept the rights to all the merchandise, and he wanted people to buy more merchandise. So he's like, let's keep the next movie is still being written. It's not going to come out till 1980, so let's keep people interested in Star Wars. We can do a holiday special. And it was his idea to have it focus on Chewbacca's family as well, because he wanted to make a mention of it, but just didn't have the space for it in the movie. So he was like, have it focus on Chewbacca's family. And their whole plan was like, if this goes well and people really like this holiday special, we could just make a movie about just Wookiees. Which obviously did not happen.
Oh my, could you imagine?
Right.
That's insane.
So when he saw the finished product, because he didn't really work on the finished product, it was like they just gave it to, they were working on the next movie, right? So they gave it to these people who had experience working on variety shows, and they said like, well, they would just come to us and say they needed some kind of prop or something, and we would just give it to them. We let them handle it because we didn't have time to focus on the holiday special. We had to get this next movie made. So when he saw the finished product, he tried so hard to prevent it from getting aired. Once it did air, it aired one time it aired one time in America, I should say. I did read that it aired like multiple times in Australia, which is kind of weird. But it aired in Canada. It aired in the U.S. one time. Yeah. And to never be seen in the light of day in any official capacity really ever again. It ran for 2 hours because of commercials. Yeah, largely considered to be the 2 worst hours of television ever made. Carrie Fisher claimed that George Lucas gave her a copy of the special as a gift for recording the DVD commentary for episode 4. And she said that she wanted a copy of it so that she could play it at parties when she wanted people to leave.
That's iconic.
Yeah.
That's fantastic.
George Lucas, he tried to purchase every master copy of the holiday special in existence to make sure that nobody would ever be able to see it again. That's so funny. He asked everybody, like, please don't mention it again. Oh and so that's why, like, if people have tried to ask Mark Hamill about it, and he just he dodges it so hard. The only person to like publicly acknowledge it really is Carrie Fisher. So, yeah, Anthony Daniels, the guy who plays C-3PO, he claims that, yeah, George Lucas just will straight up walk out of interviews if people ask him about the holiday special.
You know what we should do?
What?
We are going to Disney on the 28th. We should try and find some holiday special shirts and wear them.
Oh, no. They wouldn't like that.
They would kick us out of Disney.
Right.
That'd be hilarious.
The top YouTube there's two different uploads of this on YouTube. The top YouTube comments on both uploads basically say something to the effect of, this is still on YouTube because taking it down would force Disney to acknowledge that they own this. Because nobody wants to lay claim to it. Basically,
that is so funny.
Let's see what. But oddly enough, so there, it's kind of weird how much stuff from this that is Star Wars. Mm-hmm. That is actually still Star Wars. So, like, what I mean by that is, the first movie had come out, and much of the universe hadn't really been, like, filled out yet. Mm-hmm. But, like, the Wookiee planet of Kashyyyk, like, was not in the fourth movie. But I guess George Lucas kind of told them, like, yeah, this is basically what the Wookiee planet is supposed to be, because that was accurate, Although I believe they hadn't quite figured out that they were going to call it Kashyyyk yet. So in the special they call it Kazook. So like that planet looks exactly like what it looked like in the special, minus the whole like interior of their home being like a modern 1970s household,
I know it felt like watching a like sitcom, like an old sitcom.
It's like, oh, the Wookiees live in these 1970s houses in trees.
Yeah.
It just looks so weird.
Yeah. It felt like watching an old sitcom, and you're like seeing like the grandpa, and you're like, oh, grandpa.
Right.
That's what it felt like. You're just waiting for the live audience to clap or like.
Right. But then there's these other weird things like Life Day. Yeah. Is so like Disney Plus did a Lego Star Wars holiday special a few years back, and in that like they celebrate Life Day, and that all originated from the original Star Wars Christmas special, holiday special, I should say. Yeah. So also there's a cartoon portion in this. That has Boba Fett in it. And that was the first introduction of Boba Fett before he was even a character in the movies.
Yeah. I will say, I thought it was cool that there was like
a cartoon,
like an animated section.
The cartoon is actually well received and people did like the cartoon, and it did get a release on Disney Plus, actually.
Nice.
It's the only thing from this that has been like officially acknowledged.
Yeah, I thought it was really cool. Now, I don't know how we got there because I wasn't paying attention. All of a sudden, I looked up at the screen and it was a cartoon.
I know. So that's the thing. It's like, oh, the Boba Fett part is supposed to be good, and I've seen this holiday special 3 times for God knows why, but I still feel like I haven't seen the Boba Fett part because I check out so hard in the second half of watching this thing. Yeah. And it's in the second half.
Yeah.
There was a part that was on screen. I was like, I don't even remember seeing this.
Gotta watch it again.
I know. Like, I remember the first half of this holiday special clear as day. Yeah. And I hate it.
Maybe we watch it again, but start from the middle onwards.
Why?
So we can see the animated portion.
Well, we can watch the animated portion alone on Disney Plus. Yeah. So yeah, surprise, surprise, the events of this are considered non-canon.
That does not surprise me.
If you look it up on IMDb, it has a 2.1 out of 10. Yep. Also, you acknowledged while we were watching it, like, Mark Hamill has a lot of makeup on his face. So that was actually because he was recovering from reconstructive surgery after a car accident that almost killed him.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, I did not know that.
I didn't either.
Yeah. Because, you see it and it's like, he's got eyeliner.
Yeah,
he looks a little different.
Yeah, you're like, what's going on there?
Yeah. But they did a good job on that reconstructive surgery. Yeah, what else do I have in here? Diane Carroll is a female actress who has a portion in this where she sings a song. It's okay, so there's this very, very weird part where this merchant guy who is friends with Chewbacca's family comes to bring them gifts. And Chewbacca's dad, Itchy, is he has this chair that's basically like a VR chair.
Yeah.
And this merchant friend of theirs brings him something to watch in the VR chair. Mm-hmm. And he's like, all I can say about this is, wow. And it's basically like this. It's like, I phrased it as like, it's like the Playboy magazine of the Star Wars universe that they just put in. And it's like, why?
Yeah. I think I said, watching it, I said, this is more scandalous than like Leia in that whole like
slave Leia.
Yeah, that bikini like outfit. I was like, this is absurd.
Yeah, so I read that one of the producers of the special said that portion was made to be softcore porn that would pass the censors. Mm-hmm. As if we needed that.
Like, wwhy do we
for
want to
Wookiees
see that?
in a holiday special?
Literally. Why?
I don't know. And that's that.
And it was long.
Yeah.
It was so freaking long.
Yep. Very weird. And that's pretty much all my facts, other than Carrie Fisher said she wanted to sing in the special, and so she did. But apparently she didn't like the song.
Oh.
Yeah.
I mean, it was kind of boring, but like she had a great voice.
Yeah, it was like this holiday themed song to the theme of Star Wars.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I will say the one part of this I did enjoy and thought was very funny. At the end, you know, Chewbacca and Han Solo make it back to the crib, and Chewie reminisces about the events
my God, I forgot about
season.
that. Yeah.
I mean, the first
of the first movie.
And it does this
so weird.
It does this like close up of his face just smiling, which is hilarious. And then it's just all these pieced together clips from the first movie in case you haven't watched the first movie.
But it's all of the clips are clips of Chewbacca.
Yeah.
It's like all of the Chewbacca scenes in the first Star Wars movie and Chewie just reflecting on them.
Yeah.
It's so weird.
It also does this like fade effect where you also still see his close up face
you
behind
see his
the
face
image.
during the whole thing. Yeah. Super weird. Okay, I'm glad you brought that up because I did read this note that, you know, everybody publicly said like this was the weirdest thing we've ever filmed. We hated doing it. We wish we didn't have to do it. But Peter Mayhew, the guy that plays Chewbacca, he said that he actually had quite a pleasant experience.
I mean, yeah, it was about him.
Yeah.
He got his moment in the spotlight. I'm happy for him for that. However, what a piece of content.
What a piece of content.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But, you know, he got his moment in the sun. Happy for him.
Yep. Yeah, I think somebody asked George Lucas about it at some kind of convention, I think maybe in Australia, and he said something to the effect of like, if I had the time and a sledgehammer, I would track down every copy of this thing and destroy it.
Yikes. Oh my gosh.
Yep.
Lord
so
have mercy.
Yeah, I assigned this because I thought it was a very interesting piece of television history, holiday Star Wars history, holiday history. Yeah, because it's like a variety show in the 70s.
Yeah.
But it's like a bad one, and it's a holiday.
Yeah.
Star Wars special.
Imagine we post the Instagram post for this and we get like reported.
Right, yeah. Disney's like, you can't talk
like,
about
no.
this. Yeah.
Take it off.
No,
That'd be crazy.
I'm gonna, if I can even find a picture that's like of good enough quality, I'm hoping I'm gonna slap Chewbacca's family on the thumbnail.
Oh Lord.
Yeah, we'll see how that goes. It might be really grainy. It may be the worst thumbnail I've ever made.
You know, it's okay. It is reflective of what it was.
Yes, exactly.
Yeah. Cool. Well,
that's it.
Yeah, that was fun. What a fun holiday content swap.
Yeah,
this is a good year.
Thanks. I'm glad you don't. It seems like in Bruges, at least you liked it more than Star Wars, but you seem to resent me for it a bit more than this. You don't seem to be resenting me for assigning this.
Yeah, in Bruges was just like, that was too much.
Yeah, but
yeah. I don't. I could sit through In Bruges again. I wouldn't be happy about it. I could sit through it.
Yeah.
I can't. Well,
after recording this episode, I'm hoping to never have to watch this ever again. This is a good reason not to.
Yeah. Man, something about the Christmas picks. Your first or last Christmas pick is always something I absolutely hate. Or holiday pick.
Yeah. Well,
In Bruges was the first holiday pick.
It was intentional this time.
So always at the bottom of my list.
All right. I'm going to just bangers next year.
Or you can try and find another movie to beat those two.
I actually have a pretty cringy movie for next year.
We'll see where it ranks in the Aaliyah's not favorite movies or assignments.
Yeah, we'll see. We'll see how I feel about it. It's been a long time. But look forward to that in 11 months.
Yeah. Time will fly. We'll be there before we know it.
Yep.
Okay. Shall we do our picks for the next time that we have an episode, which, like we said, would be after New Year's.
Mm-hmm.
So this is our first. It'll be our first pick for 2024. Do you want to start first, or would you like me to go first?
Either one's cool with me.
Why don't I go first?
Yeah.
All right. So since we do have a little bit more time, I was going to give you a movie and decided, wait a second, I haven't done a show in what feels like a really long time. So I want to give you a show that I'm actually really excited to do a rewatch of because I have heard rumors about a potential season 3, and it's been a few years since the season 2 came out. So I'm going to give you Big Little Lies with Reese Witherspoon, Nicole Kidman, Zoe Kravitz, and Shailene Woodley. And Laura Dern. I was like, I know I'm forgetting someone.
Big Little Lies.
Loved that show. I was late to the game of watching it, and I kept hearing about it, and then I finally watched it. Loved it.
Yeah, I don't know anything about it other than people did say it was good, but just like, on the surface for me, I was like, I got other things.
Fair.
So, yeah, I'll be interested to watch this.
Yeah, I'm very excited. I can't wait.
Cool. Mm-hmm. All right. Well, so for me, I asked you if I could assign you a book or a game, and you said you wanted a game, and I've been really struggling with that.
That's a first.
Yeah, I think what it is that since we're going on vacation, it has to be something that I can assign you on the Switch.
Yeah.
And
that limits you a little bit.
There's a lot of things that I can assign you on the Switch that are 1 week friendly. But this is 3 weeks, and there's, opportunity there. And so I was like, well, what could I make the most of this opportunity with? And, I thought about, like, maybe I'll give you, like, our first content swap pick was like Super Mario 64. Maybe I'll give you like one of the newer Super Mario games. So you can like compare that. And I was like, well, you kind of already played you've already played a 3D Mario game, but I could still do Mario if I chose something else. And so what I'm going to give you is Paper Mario.
I knew it.
How did you know?
Well, I mean, I knew it once you said a Mario game. I was I hope it's Paper Mario.
Yeah. I'm giving you the original Paper Mario from the Nintendo 64, which you can play on the Nintendo Switch family of systems with the Nintendo Switch Online Nintendo 64 expansion pack. If you get on my Nintendo Switch Online family plan.
Silly.
I think those are all the official brand terms. But yeah, anyway, yeah, you need to have the expansion pack, but I have the expansion pack. And I can add you. We can make a family plan, and I can add you as a family member, and then you'll have access to it. Exactly. Exactly.
I am your
we
wife.
can just have it forever. Yeah. So yeah, and then we can set that up right now even, and then and then you can play the original Paper Mario.
I'm excited because you were excited about the like re-release of it. I know it's like one of your favorite games.
Well, the re-release that I'm talking about, that I'm excited about, is the sequel to the original Paper Mario.
Gotcha.
Yeah, the sequel to the original Paper Mario is one of my favorite games.
How come I don't play the sequel?
Well, because there's no way to play it on the Switch. It hasn't come out yet on the Switch.
Oh.
Yeah, I would totally give you that when that comes out later. But I'm giving you the original. The original, honestly, also just as good. Okay. It's really like between those two, it's like they're both considered, like when you look back on the Paper Mario franchise, it's like everybody loves the first two games. And
there's more than two.
Oh yeah. There's Super Paper Mario, there's Paper Mario Sticker Star, there's Paper Mario Color Splash, there's Paper Mario the
names.
Origami King.
Wow. That one sounds
no,
cool.
I don't acknowledge those.
Oh. Just kidding.
Paper Mario the 1,000-Year Door, that's the one I love. And it's coming to the Switch in 2024. But you can play the original Paper Mario on the Nintendo Switch Online Nintendo 64 expansion pack.
Got you. Well,
anyway, it's a great game. Like, you should look forward to it. It is. Yeah, it is great.
I am. Yeah. I need to dust off my Switch because it's been a minute since I've picked it up, and it is very dusty.
Yeah, I mean, it's a turn-based combat RPG game, but it's like the most family-friendly, like in its simplicity.
Yeah.
For that, so I don't think you're gonna struggle too hard.
Cool. Sounds good.
Yeah.
Well, what an exciting start to 2024.
Yeah. So next week we'll have Paper Mario and Big Little Lies.
Ooh, those are two very different things.
Two very, very, very
different in
things.
tone.
Yep.
Cool.
All right. Looking forward to it. We'll see you then. Have a great holiday season.
Yes.
This concludes Holiday Swap 2023 here at the Content Swap Podcast. Hope you enjoyed it. And let us know what your favorite holiday pick was.
Yeah.
And also just, what your favorite holiday movie is.
Yeah. Be safe if you're traveling, even if you're not. Take care of yourselves. Get some rest. And we will see you in the new year.
Bye.
Bye.
Cha-ching.